So after 43 days, the government could finally reopen tonight. The House is expected to vote on the Senate-passed funding bill later today. And while GOP leaders are confident they have the votes, Democrats are expected to reject the measure.
Our strong expectation is that Democrats will be strongly opposed. Many have issued statements. The New Dem coalition came out today opposed to this Republican spending bill because it fails to address the health care crisis that Republicans have created.
CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand starts us off from the White House this morning. Good morning, Natalie. So we're about to see the House back in session for the first time in nearly 2 months. So what is the play-by-play? What can we expect?
Yeah, well, a key hurdle was passed overnight because this package that had been approved by the Senate advanced through the House Rules Committee, which, again, is a key start, another big sign of optimism here. That vote along party lines, 8-4. Republicans rejected amendments that had been offered by Democrats, including one on extending those enhanced Affordable Care Act health subsidies, which Democrats have been fighting for, the whole reason why this shutdown began. So while we are expected to see a lot of Democratic opposition on the House floor later today ahead of a final vote, Republicans seem to be behind this, including House Freedom Caucus members, the conservative wing of the party that sometimes raises objections to budget measures. It seems Republicans are in line. That is in large part because this deal is supported and backed by President Trump, who talked about it, kind of took an early victory lap during his Veterans Day remarks yesterday. Take a listen.
Congratulations to you and to John and to everybody on a very big victory. We're opening up our country. Should have never been closed.
So the president signaling there that he expects the government to reopen very soon, as early as later tonight. But again, House Democrats on the floor ahead of this final vote are expected to raise issues, or raise concerns rather, about rising premiums, especially for those on the Affordable Care Act if they get their insurance under Obamacare. So this final vote we are expecting this evening after some debate, but the health care issue is expected to continue to be in the spotlight in the weeks and months to come, especially if the Senate ends up taking this up in early December, which was a promise of that deal reached in the upper chamber, Errol.
Yeah, Democrats keeping their focus on that issue. Natalie with the latest. Thank you. Democrat Adelita Grijalva will be sworn in as a member of Congress today, 7 weeks after winning a special election in Arizona. House Speaker Mike Johnson has refused to swear Grijalva in while the government has been closed, and that is despite pleas from Democrats. Grijalva is expected to become the final signature on a petition to force the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, although a vote isn't expected until next month. Now to government food assistance. The Supreme Court is extending its order allowing the Trump administration to withhold full SNAP benefits as the shutdown nears an end. The move extends a stay first issued by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson on Friday. In a court filing, the administration urged the High Court to, quote, let the political process that is rapidly playing out reach its conclusion, end quote. The new order will expire just before midnight on Thursday. Our Major Garrett spoke to a SNAP recipient on the takeout about the struggles she's been facing.
It's been very difficult. I'm retired, so my Social Security that I usually pay my bills with, we had to, some bills had to go unpaid so we could eat. I mean, fortunately, I have other means. My children are older, and they both work, so they helped me also. But it was still a traumatic experience.
Now, keep in mind, reopening the government would restart funding for SNAP, but it's just not clear how quickly full payments would resume. Now, regardless of today's vote, the government remains shut down, and we're still seeing an air traffic controller shortage. We're also seeing flight cuts. CBS News reporter Katie Weiss spoke to passengers flying out of New Orleans.
Things have been moderate here at the New Orleans International Airport throughout the day on Tuesday. Some delays, some cancellations, but nationwide there have been more than 3,100 delays and more than 1,200 cancellations. And while New Orleans is not one of the airports on the list of 40 airports to be directly impacted by the mandated flight cancellations, it is one of many airports across the country that is expecting to see a trickle-down effect or domino effect of impacts throughout the week as those cancellations ramp up to 10% on Friday. Now, I spoke to several travelers who have said that they've experienced a wide variety of impacts. Some people saying that it's been smooth sailing, others saying that they've not been able to, change their flight as a result. One woman told me that she's been impressed with how kind all of the airport staff has been despite the tough working conditions. Take a listen.
I've marveled at how kind everyone has been, in spite of the fact that there are people who are struggling, obviously, already. And, the people that are working with lower pay or without pay, it's phenomenal. I hope they get some kind of an enormous bonus when this is all resolved.
Now, as far as what's driving these mandated cancellations, again, it's staffing shortages, but it's also about safety. According to the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, he said that adding these flight restrictions really prevents chaos, in his words, due to these low staffing of air traffic controllers. During the shutdown at several airports, there was an increase in runway incursions, complaints from airline pilots about FAA controllers, and of planes flying too closely together. Certainly something very unnerving for anyone who would be boarding a plane, and something that they want to avoid. Now, Duffy says that things won't be returning to normal immediately, that it will be a gradual return, and that the FAA plans to continue to monitor safety data to make sure that the timing is right to then ramp back up to normal air traffic numbers. Sean Duffy also said on Tuesday that the FAA will begin easing flight reductions only when the data says we should. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Katie Weiss, thank you.